Good afternoon. The presentation has yet to be loaded, it seems. No? Okay. Okay, that's the right one. My name is Jens Stutte. I represent Planetech Italia, and together with Latlon, we are currently implementing the next version of the INSPIRE Geoportal. Martin Seiler is also here, he's co-author. And I want to talk today a bit about one special aspect of the INSPIRE Geoportal, which is not the only special aspect of the INSPIRE Geoportal. But first of all, I want just to remember a context, that is that INSPIRE sets not only the base that member states have to implement their infrastructures, but it sets also the condition that the Commission itself shall do something, that is to provide the INSPIRE Geoportal. Then there was made a tender, and this defined very detailed functional requirements that I don't want to discuss with you now. Actually, the important question here is, what is the user in the end supposed to do with it? Because it's clear that we must support certain geographic functions and search functions and so on, but the user itself, what would he seek in this portal? And we try to find a formula which quite summarizes what the user is supposed to do with this, and that is access INSPIRE spatial data sets and services through a unique entry point with seamless integration of member states services, enabling multilingual searches, and the iterative refinement of result sets and cross-border combination of data sets in customized user maps. These are many single points. As you can see, the ball is not casual. Today I want to concentrate on the multilingual searches part, on the discovery part. But first, I just want to present a bit the context of the portal itself. So the overall picture says we have below the member state services, which implement discovery and view services. We have above the Geoportal itself, and the Geoportal is not only a web portal, but comprises also a proxy subsystem, which is in the middle here, which is enabling the portal to access all the member state services. And the portal itself then implements two main use cases. One is the so-called interactive discovery, and the other one is the geo-navigation. And so actually the system must integrate the discovery and view services, which are obviously expected to follow the guidelines. And so we have three main components here, and it's not a case that this session is also entitled registries besides Geoportals. So we have the web portal itself, we have the proxy systems, and we have the registry. And the web portal itself is designed for the interactive discovery, for example. We try to keep everything in one page. Another important thing is, and we will come back on that in more detail later, is that not only the search results, but also the search hints that are offered to the user during querying are partly based on metadata, on real-life data. And the other important user aspect is the combination of maps from the search results. The web portal itself is based on Plone as a content management system, and has a multilingual UI, the other things, and it uses OGC protocols to talk with the proxy subsystem. The proxies itself then are specialized. It's not something just something standard. It's an extension of the degree libraries, especially for this purpose. They have obviously a local cache, especially for the metadata, and must be able to access data. I just recommend you, if you later go to the slides, to see a bit these lists. We have then two main proxies. One is the discovery service proxy, which is for the discovery services. One is for the view service proxy. and which then talks to the view services and provides a unified interface to the web portal itself. So what is happening behind the scenes? Behind the scenes, the member states provide discovery services and deliver discovery service URLs to the Geoportal, which are registered by themselves. Then the harvester retrieves metadata from the catalogues and puts it in the cache. And in some cases, the discovery service contains other discovery service, so we will do also the necessary looping and so forth. And retrieves the capabilities documents of all the view services. An important thing here, and here we come to the user need in the beginning. The INSPIRE Geoportal will have inside metadata from 27 countries with 20-something languages. I never remember the exact number. And so one important thing to do for users is to be able to do cross-language searches. That means if I am German and I search for Katasterparzellen, I would like to see also a UK record for cadastral parcels. This is not such trivial as it seems, because the INSPIRE definition of the metadata allows member states to put all those keywords in their own language. So I have to harmonize these data sets as I am harvesting them in order to extract multilingual keywords that allow me to index them well and to search on them. So what is done during harvesting is, besides the general validation of the INSPIRE metadata against the rules and the service capabilities also, and in this process we are generating also errors and warnings and deliver them to the contact points of the member states. Another important thing, and this is a real added value, is to derive those language neutral keyword indexes by using either the Geoportal and also codeless registers for the well-defined fields, like, for example, the INSPIRE theme itself. And then during harvesting we establish also the coupling between data and services, and in this case services means not so much services itself, but the layers offered by those services refer to the data sets. The map cache, on the other hand, is just a performance cache that is needed to do an on-demand caching of the most frequently requested tiles. The map caching is also able to do a reprojection and tiling of WMS services on demand whenever they are not in the right CRS. So now we go to the interactive discovery itself, which is, as we said, a human interface on one single page, where the different elements on this UI are highly interactive. So if I have highlight a result set, in the date picker also the year where this appeared will be highlighted, and in the map the bounding box will be highlighted, and so forth. So one very powerful instrument in the search UI is the autocompletion, which is helping the user to formulate his query without knowing too much about INSPIRE, because he can just start to type and he will see what he gets in the suggestion lists within keywords and other fields. The important thing here is, in the suggestion list, is the language the user uses to define his search query is not necessarily the same than that of the original language of the metadata record. And on the other hand, the catalog results shall not be dependent on the query language. If I request for Romania as a country in German or in Italian, the result should be always the same. And so we are able here to search beyond language barriers, and we have also another very positive effect of this user interface. That is, the user is introduced to the structure of INSPIRE metadata through the suggestion. So when he gets to type a keyword and the suggestion list appears, he will implicitly associate the term he selected with a specialized field where this term is expected to be found, which is very different from doing just a free text search on all fields. So you will get higher quality results, and you are guiding the user to use the well-structured INSPIRE data in order to enhance his search results, without giving him the burden to understand from the very start the meaning of all the fields. Another important feature we implemented here is the anticipative counting of expected results. So we dynamically count, based on the current query settings, how much results the user would get if he chooses a specific additional filter. So this leads to quite a good responsive interface, especially on the timeline. You can see it very well, on where the user can expect to find data and where not. This anticipative counting, just for the technical freaks here, is based on an extension of the standard OGC request with an additional function we introduced, and a schema then for the result, obviously, we use in order to describe this. Everybody who's interested in that can talk to me or to Martin later. And other flashlights of the portal then are, well, that's the home page. It's just for the design. Actually, I should say something on the home page. The map you see is just a fast access to then switch over to the discovery page with a pre-selected bounding box and country. On the other hand, the INSPIRE theme icons give you a fast access and a short explanation of what this theme is about, and you can go both in the interactive discovery or in the browse catalog page, where you can browse without geographical map, without geographical query. And then the user is able to define within workspaces the list of records he selected. Actually, if we go back here, from the result list, the user can permanently select single records and keep them. Even if the query changes, they will remain in his workspace. And then those workspaces can be saved, and as a basis also to combine then the maps from them. And another important functionality is that those workspaces can be then shared among users. So here you can see, at the time of writing of this slide, we had still a mock-up for this page. We are currently working more concretely on it. In any case, we have here a map interface that is based on WMTS, which implements then the INSPIRE CRS84 quad and gets from the view services proxy all its tiles in the right CRS, and this ensures cross-border combinations of maps. And obviously users can do the normal things you can do in a WebGIS here. One word on open source. The portal is based on many open source products. We've seen through the slides that there appears deegree, there appears Plone. The basis of all is Linux and open layers on the browser client side as mapping library, and Jackrabbit for the registries. And then what we are doing currently will also be in some form or be contributed then as, under open source licenses. So, lessons learned. Well, actually, I'm not really sure that there is an outlook after here. Actually, so what is a lesson learned? That we have this innovative combination of query definition and result list, map and shopping cart on a single page, offers us possibilities to interactively refine and preserve search results that we formally not had in classically designed geoportals. And the even more added value is the multi- and cross-language search capabilities that really enable pan-European searches that beforehand were not really possible. And this is the basis in order to ensure to make also cross-border mapping, because if I cannot find the data, I will never know if there are the maps to combine. But if I find them, I will be able to combine them. And just one side note, obviously this user interface, which now to us that we made it, then it will be seen how to use when it comes available to the public, seems quite natural and easy as a result of many design iterations, many interrogations with JRC and Eurostat and so forth. So there is much work in it that in the end I hope will be appreciated also by you. Thank you.
Yes, you talk about new functions and more functions about INSPIRE Geoportal, especially with new interactive discovery user interface.
Yes.
In multilingual environment provides more functions to find geodata. Yes, is there any questions about this presentation? Yes.
You mentioned about the multilinguality. Is there any chance to get something like a registry where we have this multilinguality of terms available on keywords?
Actually, it is foreseen in the project that there is provided this registry to the system. Now, I am not really sure if this will be publicly available as an interface. Here I am not, but it is there, and it is combined between the registry itself, which contains the multilingual code lists, which are basically extracts of what is written in the INSPIRE regulation then, because they are in all the languages. And on the other hand, the geomethesaurus, which is used as is. So this is not within the registry, it's just a redeployment of the same geomethesaurus which we use for the semantic searches then.
Thank you. Yes?
Yes, I have a question on the harvesting side. Do you harvest all metadata from all member agencies, or do you have a special harvesting policy where you harvest certain type of records and others you leave behind? Can you explain that a little bit, please?
We harvest all the records of the discovery services that we are given by the member states. So it's a responsibility of them to give us the right URLs of the discovery services, and we then do an index, as I explained, which is not complete, so we don't do an exact copy of the metadata of the member state, but we create a search index on those data that is used then to deliver the searches within the portal. There is the registry with which the member state contact points will be able to administer certain constraints, but I cannot explain now the exact details on that. Martin maybe can tell something else.
It's foreseen that in the registry, the member state's administrator can add an OGC filter expression for the harvest procedure. So with this filter expression, they can actually limit or influence the records that are actually going to be harvested.
Okay, so I had not the easy answer Martin had.
Yes, third and last question. Yes.
It's a question about the multilingual search. If I understood it correctly, you would use the GEMET concepts for having these words in different languages. Is that?
Partly, yes.
Partly.
The geomethesaurus is mainly used to analyze the free text fields in order to extract the concepts and to index the metadata records with the found concepts. Instead, the fixed fields like INSPIRE theme, categories, but also quite banal fields like the resolution, the spatial resolution or things like that, are all codified in a multilingual way, such that users can use their language, how they know the term, and we just use internally a code which is the same for every language, obviously, to construct the queries.
Okay, my point here was on the GEMET concepts. We have looked on it from the Swedish side and see that it's very little used and it's not maintained, and the translation to Swedish is really bad. So I think we need to have to do some work on each language in the maintenance of the GEMET, if it should be possible to use.
Okay, that's an interesting input. Actually, from an infrastructure point of view, I am more or less obliged to use GMAT, and so it's a content problem here. Actually, internally we are able also, at least in theory, because then we will have to provide an adapter for every other thesaurus, we would be able also to add additional thesaurus to do those searches, but actually it's quite difficult to find one in all the languages. So actually GMAT is the only one we have now.
Okay, thanks.
That's enough. Thanks for your presentation.